Okay, Sayyidi. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. You know, this sentence about the revenge, just leave it with me, because in my own understanding, Quduri is not considering it. So there are two options. So it will be one of two. Either when he says hudud, punishments, so he's exempting the qisas, so that's one option. Or the second is the previous example, the previous position, it was position between Abu Hanifa and Sahaban. Do you remember? We spoke about already. And this is the position of the mutaakhirin, mashayikh or the ashab or whatever. Inshallah, I will just reconfirm it, okay? In the commentary, Imam MadIna, rahimahullah, he did not explain anything. So I have to double check. وقال Abu Muhammad, so even in this mas'ala, just leave it. Inshallah, I'm going to double check. I'm going to clarify later. وإذا قال المدعي لي بينة حاضرة قيل لخصمه أعطيه كفيلا بنفسك ثلاثة أيام. So all of that is going back to the qisas. Okay. So means all of them will be confirmed next week, inshallah. Okay, so all of that will, look, starting from وَمَنِ ادَّعَ قِصَاصًا عَلَى غَيْرِهِ فَجَحَدَ أُسْتُحْلِفَ. So starting from there, it goes always فإن فعل وإلا أمر بملازمته إلا أن يكون غريبا على الطريق فيلازمه مقدار مجلس القاضي. So up to there. Okay, so all of that is just one masala related to the same issue. Inshallah, we'll reconfirm that by the next week, inshallah. But I do assume that it's going to be one of two. Anyway. وإن قال المدعى عليه هذا الشيء أودعنيه فلان الغائب أو رهنه عندي أو غصبته منه وأقام بينة على ذلك فلا خصومة بينه وبين المدعي. So let's suppose that this mas'ala is a bit complicated. So let's suppose that you come to me and you claim that book belongs to you. Okay, but then I prove, so I am making counterclaim. Okay, but not against him, but against third person, saying that I did take it from third person and I prove it. So obviously now I'm also claimant, isn't it? But my claim is used as defense also, isn't it? So because there are two claims, am I right? First is claim against me. And the second is my claim against that third person who is not here. Because I'm saying book belongs to that person and I bought it from him, or I have taken it as deposit. How do you pawning, isn't it? Pawning, or I took it as ghasb, like taking forcefully, and I present a proof for that. فلا خصومة بينه وبين المدعي. So there is no any case between me and the first claimant. وإن قال ابتعته من فلان الغائب فهو الخصم. Sorry, in this mas'ala, just in the first mas'ala, it was أودعنيه, so either wadi'a, or either rahan, or either ghasb. But if I claim that, saying that it is, I bought it from him, from that third person, so means the case is between the claimant and that third person. Okay. وإن قال ابتعته من فلان الغيب فهو خصم. فهو in here is going back to the third person, isn't it? Yeah, so وأقام بينة على ذلك فلا خصوم. In here between me and, because there are two claimants and two defendants, isn't it? So the first claimant is you are claiming that book is yours, and second claimant is me. I'm claiming again third person, saying he left it with me. Okay, so in here he's saying فهو خصم. So what I said was previously, there is no, so the court case is finished, so you cannot carry on chasing up me. Okay, but in the second mas'ala, I just lost this bit also actually, because in the first mas'ala the case is not between me and you, but between you and the third person, isn't it? Because I have proven that this was left with me. Okay, this was left with me as wadi'a or rahan or ghasb. Okay, so we can understand the wadi'a and rahan because it is the right of the third person. But what about when it is ghasb? But again, ghasb is taken from that third person, so he has to come to claim it back, isn't it? Okay, so in all of them three masail, you cannot claim it, you cannot take it from me, but you can only do it through that third person, because third person is the one who left it as rahan or wadi'a or even ghasb. Okay, but in the second masala is actually, it's not the third person, it's actually me. Khasm is me, so you will chase me up. Look guys, can we just leave this bit also, the وَإِنْ قَلِبْ تَعْتُهُ مِنْ فُلَانٍ الْغَائِبْ فَهُوَ خَصْم, because even the third mas'ala, the khasm supposed to be that third person, because I'm proving that I took it from the legal way from the third person, means the illegal thing was between that third person and the first claimant. So this bit I have to double check again. Okay, it didn't make sense to me, so I'm going to double check. So anyway, the previous mas'ala and this mas'ala, I'm going to double check, and the mas'ala in between is quite clear. وإن قال المدعي سرق مني وأقام البينة وقال صاحب اليد أودعنيه فلان وأقام البينة لم تندفع الخصومة. Okay. So, but what about in the previous mas'ala we said as soon as I prove the wadi'a, do you remember what's the meaning of wadi'a? We have two things, ariya and wadi'a, am I right? So what's the difference between wadi'a and ariya? Who remembers? What is wadi'a? Yes, please. Yes, but what about the wadi'a? Ariya, borrowing, to use. Wadi'a is left to preserve, so that I can look after it. Ariya is I will take your book to use. But wadi'a is you are leaving your book with me because you are traveling, so that I can look after it. So that is wadi'a. So let's suppose that in the mas'ala, in the first mas'ala, you came to me saying that this book belongs to you, and then I have proven that third person left it as wadi'a. So then he said, you cannot carry on chasing me, but you have to wait for that third person to chase him up. Okay, and in the next mas'ala he said, but if I claim that I bought it from him, means you will carry on chasing me up for that. I'm going to double check about the second mas'ala, and then he came back saying now wadi'a is conflicting with theft. So I say third person left it with me, okay, as wadi'a, and I prove it, but you prove that I have stolen it from you or from that third person. Okay, but in here most likely it is you. So I have stolen it from you, and you prove it also. So which one is superior? Is wadi'a or is sariqa? Which one is superior? So he says that the conflict will not stop with it, but it will continue. So Qadi will look into the other proofs, and so even me being Sahibul Yad is not going to save. Okay, because what about the wadi'a? There is no responsibility because it's amana, isn't it? So in the wadi'a, no dhaman, am I right? Yeah. And what about Sahibul Yad? Sahibul Yad is strong, but sariqa is not weaker than Sahibul Yad. So it means it will stay. So conflict will continue. So they will look into some other proofs. So taking oath and etc. وإن قال المدعي ابتعته من فلان وقال صاحب اليد أودعنيه فلان ذلك سقطت الخصومة بغير بينة. Okay. So now in our case So this book is right now with me. So two of you claiming that book belongs to you. One of you, let's make it between me, because I'm Sahibul Yad, so book is with me. I say third person left it with me as wadi'a. So wadi'a is amana. And the other person says, no, I bought it from the same person. So it belongs to me. So which one is stronger? So buying is stronger, isn't it, than wadi'a? Okay. So then, even if it was wadi'a, so then he sold it to you, but just to look after it, he left it with me. So very possible. Okay. But in here we have Sahibul Yad. So Sahibul Yad in this mas'ala is stronger than buying. Okay. So from here we can understand that, do you remember we said that the reason khas possession is stronger than zahir? Do you remember? So in this mas'ala we can see that it's not all the time, because Sahibul Yad, what is the Sahibul Yad? It's zahir, isn't it? Backed up with wadi'a, which is no responsibility. So it actually was stronger than buying specific milk khas. Okay, so it is quite strange actually. Anyway, now, so that is all of that is issue. Now in terms of the taking oath. So how do we take oath? So he says, وَالْيَمِينُ بِاللَّهِ تَعَالَى دُونَ غَيْرِهِ وَيُؤَكِّدُ بِذِكْرِ أَوْصَافِهِ. So he says, and oath should be by the name of God only and nothing else. Okay, and it's possible to emphasize or to make it a bit strong, to make the oath a bit stronger by mentioning the attributes of God. For example, أُقْسِمُ بِاللَّهِ الْعَظِيمِ, that it belongs to me, okay, or just by saying أُقْسِمُ بِاللَّهِ, I take oath by God, finished, that is sufficient. But could be like a strengthened, oath could be strengthened by the attribute of God. So for example, you as claimant, when you are unable to prove, you can say just oath is not sufficient. I want the defendant to take oath by the name of God who takes revenge. So then the defendant has to say أقسم بالله المنتقم العزيز المنتقم. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, ولا يستحلف بالطلاق ولا بالعتاق, and he should not be, the judge should not be taking the oath by divorce or by freedom. Okay, so even our Salafi brothers, they say that taking oath by divorce is shirk. Okay, but not valid. So they obviously in Hanafi school, if someone takes oath by divorce, so it is valid divorce. Okay, but is it shirk? In Hanafi, no. Okay, so for example, saying, I swear by divorce that this belongs to me, which means that if this does not belong to me, so I'm divorcing my wife. Okay, so so our Salafi brothers, they say it is because it is like glorifying something on the place where God supposed to be glorified. Okay, so it is shirk according to them, but in our Hanafi school, no, it's not shirk, but it's not permissible, but it's valid. So it's the same as stealing a knife and then slaughtering animal. So is animal now meta? Can I eat the meat or not? What do you think? Wahhabis, don't listen to them. What do you think? So I steal a knife and slaughter animal by this stolen knife. Is it halal meat or not? Yeah. Why? Stolen. The knife is stolen. Sorry? Excellent. Because it's two separate things. So it was haram for me to use the knife. But if I use, does it give that expected effect? Yes. Okay, so it was wrong for you to take oath by the divorce of your wife. But if you did it, you are sinful, but divorce is valid. Okay. But according to our Salafi brothers, divorce is not valid. Okay, and oath is also not valid, and you are mushrik, you committed shirk. So you have to renew your iman, actually. Okay, Sayyidi. ايه خدا ايه خدا. ويستحلف اليهودي بالله الذي أنزل التوراة على موسى عليه الصلاة والسلام، والنصراني بالله الذي أنزل الإنجيل على عيسى عليه السلام، والمجوسي بالله الذي خلق النار، ولا يستحلفون في بيوت عباداتهم. So he says the member of each religion will be taking oath according to their own thing, so by the name of God, but according to their own things. So Musa alayhi salam is for Jews and etc. ولا يستحلفون في بيوت عبادتهم. So and then they should not be taking oath in their own temples, church, etc. This thing is Arabian culture. Okay, so even there was this case in which there's one of the Salafi mashayikh. Okay, so it is Sheikh Yamani, Muhaddith. So he had friction with Sheikh Zahid al-Kawthari. You know Sheikh Zahid al-Kawthari? In my own understanding, he's one of the maybe the most knowledgeable scholars in the last maybe 200 years, could be even more. Passed away recently, about 100 years ago. So anyway, he passed away in 50 or 62. Yeah, 62. So it's quite recent, 40, 50 years ago. So anyway, this Salafi Sheikh, his name is something Yamani, Sheikh Abdurrahim Yamani or something like that. So he challenged Sheikh Zahid al-Kawthari and all of that about this book of Khatib al-Baghdadi, okay, in which was quite messy, to be honest. So then he challenged, saying, let's make mubahala. You know the meaning of mubahala, cursing each other. Okay. So then this Yamani said, Sheikh Yamani said, okay, I will go to Kaaba and I will be holding the gate of the Kaaba. You do your mubahala, you're cursing against me wherever you want. Same mindset, So just by taking oath in some specific place, it's not going to increase the anger of God, etc. But they normally refer to this hadith in which Rasulullah emphasized killing one another. Do you remember in Masjid al-Haram? Do you remember? Because of that. But we say that does not emphasize. ولا يجب تغليظ اليمين على المسلم بزمان ولا مكان. And also same thing applicable on Muslims. So as we do not get the oath from Jews, for example, in synagogue, just to make it stronger, so on the same way we do not take oath from Muslim in some specific place or specific time. So judge does not say, okay, so now we want you to take oath in the day of Arafah and in the central mosque. No, he just wherever they are. Okay, because the person who can lie by taking oath here, he will do the same there. He doesn't really care, because taking oath by the name of God, that's sufficient, heavy thing in itself. ومن ادعى أنه ابتاع من هذا عبده بألف فجحده استحلف بالله ما بينكما بيع قائم فيه ولا يستحلف بالله ما بعت. Okay. So obviously, because sometimes some people used to play with the words, just to make sure that they deceive the court, but also they do not lie to God by taking oath also. So they used to make up words. So Quduri is clarifying that, saying, let's suppose that I am claiming that you sold your slave to me, and you are denying that. I was unable to prove it. Now you have to take oath. So he says taking oath should be very accurate, just to make sure that you are not deceiving the court. So how it should be? So you should not say, I did not sell. Understand? Well, maybe you are referring to something else in your mind. You understand? Yeah. So maybe you are saying, I did not sell my wife. Yes, you did not sell your wife. But Quduri is saying, be accurate, saying, I take oath by God that there is no any buying and selling between me and this person about this specific commodity. Do you understand? Yeah, so it's once I was my friend was applying. Do you know Mahad Fath in Syria, in Damascus? Do you know when British students used to go to Damascus to study? Some of them used to study in Mahad Fath, same place. So one of my friends, his name was Nader from Uzbekistan, so he was just there. He was applying from early morning, from Fajr, I don't know, 4 o'clock. He was just keeping standing in the line, very long line, And I went there about 10 o'clock in the morning just to see how he is, just to get some water for him, because he was waiting his turn. And behind him, it was maybe, I don't know, Nigerian or some person from there, also a student behind him. So I went and then we started chatting just to make sure that he's not depressed, etc. And then he was standing just behind 2 or 3. And I kept on chatting with him just to, excite him, etc. And then it was his turn to go. And teacher came out saying, who is next? That person from behind, he said, it's my turn. Well, I said, how come? My friend was just standing there. And that person said, no, he came with you. Lying, And then the teacher said, do you have proof? To my friend. My friend said, yes, I'm witness. So he said, do you have anyone else? So 2 witnesses. He said, no. And then he asked that Nigerian person to take oath because he was unable to prove. Do you know how did he take oath? He said, he was not standing here. Yeah, of course, he was not standing there because before there were 2 people before him. So he was here and that Nigerian guy was here. And because 2, they went in, so moving. So he said, yes, I take oath by God that he was not standing in here, lying, Poor guy, so he was just, my friend was sent back again. And I don't know, by 4 or 5 in the evening, he got back again to that place. Look, I don't understand. Why do we need to do this, one to another? But as far as I remember, both were accepted. My friend got accepted. I hope that other guy was also. But it was very low, to trap on your own, brother. It's quite low. What do you do with it? And this, my friend, spent from morning, doing all of that. Depressing. Muslims. Very depressing, and students of knowledge. My friend was very, very angry. But he was very, high in morals. He couldn't insult because he does not have in his dictionary insulting words. He said, are you not scared of God? Are you not scared? Who cares, taking oath by the name to lie, he deserved that insults from street, But my friend, he did not have them words in his dictionary. Noble person, Are you not scared of God? Are you not scared of God? No, I'm not scared of God. Okay, Sayyidi. So Imam Quduri is mentioning it just to make it very accurate. Okay, so this is for the judge. Be cautious about the games. ويستحلف في الغصب بالله ما يستحق عليك رد هذه العين ولا رد قيمتها ولا يستحلف بالله ما غصبته. So, but if it is غصب, if claimant is claiming غصب, so the person who is taking oath, he should not say, I take oath that I did not take. It's not that, but more accurate. How? I take oath by God, ما يستحق, so that this bottle does not belong to him, and I do not have to return it back to him, and I do not owe him the value of this also. Now it just covers everything. Okay, so you cannot play. يا خدا. وفي النكاح بالله ما بينكما نكاح قائم في الحال. And if it is a matter related to the marriage, okay, so then it will be that there is no any marriage between me and this person right now. وفي دعوى الطلاق بالله ما هي بائن منك الساعة بما ذكرت أو بما ذكرتي ولا يستحلف بالله ما طلقها. And in the matter of divorce, to be more accurate, so he should be taking oath by saying, she is not separated from me right now on the way she has mentioned. Okay, so it's very accurate. But he should not say, I'm taking oath that I did not divorce. So maybe he did not divorce, but there was some other way of separating. Okay, separation. So maybe it could be because he was unable to fulfill the nafaqa, and they took the case to the Shafi'i scholar who issued, for example, fasakh or khulu', for example, etc. You know. In the marriage, I'm going to clarify all of that. You know, so because you know, when he said in terms of a marriage, it's the lady denying the marriage. Okay, but in here he is saying other way around. Okay, so the husband. Yeah, but inshallah, for all of them, I'm going to just give more accuracy next time when I will come back, because in terms of qisas, that is a bit confusing. Yeah. But in terms of marriage, as he explained in the, you know, the Kitabun Nikah, lady denying the marriage. So in that she does not take oath. But what about man? No, there is a responsibility. But from her side, no responsibility, you know. Okay, Sidi. وإن كانت دار في يد رجل ادعاها اثنان أحدهما جميعها والآخر نصفها وأقام البينة فلصاحب الجميع 3/4 ولصاحب النصف ربعها عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله. وقال رحمهما الله تعالى هي بينهما أثلاثا. Okay, so in here actually it is more like a maths, based on the maths. So let's suppose that this house, I'm living in there, and then two of you come and one of you claim that entire house belongs to you, and the second person claim that half of the house belongs to him, and each of them prove their point. Okay, so in there, according to Abu Hanifa, it is based on quarters. 3/4 for the person who is claiming everything, and 1/4 is the person who is claiming half of the house. And according to Sahabain, it is between them on thirds. 2/3 belongs to the one who is claiming everything, and 1/3 belongs to the one. So as far as I remember, it's the Mu'tamad is the Qawl Sahabain, as far as I remember. ولو كانت الدار في أيديهما وإن كانت الدار في يد رجل أوكي ولو كانت الدار في أيديهما سلمت لصاحب الجميع نصفها على وجه القضاء ونصفها لا على وجه القضاء. Okay, so in this mas'ala, Sahab al-Yad, in the first mas'ala it was third person, okay, but in the second mas'ala it is between them, companionship. So Sahab al-Yad is both of them, okay. So in that scenario, half of the house will be granted to the person who is claiming everything by judgment. Means no more dispute on it. and the second half will be given to him, but without judgment of the judge, which means that the person who is claiming everything, so he has to pay for everything, and the person who is claiming the half, he will get refund only. Okay, and the person, the first person will get everything, but half of that by judgment, and the second half is by without judgment, which means that the person can still dispute on the second half. وإن تنازعا في دابة وأقام كل واحد منهما بينة أنها نتجت عنده وذكر تاريخا وسن الدابة يوافق أحد التاريخين فهو أولى وإن أشكل ذلك كانت بينهما. Well, obviously, it is based on the general principle. So we said, what is the first? What is the first? So if two people claim and they prove their claim, so then what do we do as Hanafis? If possible, naskh, so that's it. No, then tarjih, or no, then just ignored. Yes. So he says, if one of and then they claim the date of the birth or the age, the date of buying the horse, for example. Okay, one of them say 2 years ago, and the second say 4 years ago, and then the adl, the expert adl, will guess the age of the animal. So whichever age is closer, so he gets it. But if no, so if none of them, then we say وَإِنْ أَشْكَلَ ذَلِكَ كَانَتْ بَيْنَهُمَا. So it will be between them, because there is no way of making the tarjih. Hey. So the rest is he's just giving us a key to make the ways of tarjih. Okay. So for example, in terms of the animal, two people are disputing about the camel, for example. One of them is riding and the second is holding its, do you know this thread? What do they call this thread? Mask? Do you know this thread? Bridle? Bridle. So one of them is holding it and the second is riding. And each of them claiming that it belongs to him. So who has more right? Quduri says the one who is riding. But I say maybe if it is like historical places, maybe the one who is holding, because it's very common, isn't it? So do not be deceived by this, okay? Because it's just general and it's not like a golden principle, you know? Just use your brain. So for example, in Egypt, okay, this white guy, okay, in, you know them in pyramids, white guy is riding, and Egyptian guy is holding. So, and each of them is claiming that camel belongs to them, you know? So what do you think? Who owns it? Exactly, Egyptian, because it's quite common that, you know, tourists, you understand? So do not be deceived by this, you know? So anyway, it's good thing. وكذلك إذا تنازع بعيرا وعليه حمل لأحدهما فصاحب الحمل أولى. And also they are disputing about a camel, two people, but one of them has his luggage on top of the camel and the second he doesn't have. So he says the person with the luggage, he has more right. But it's not necessary, isn't it? Again, the same thing about that Egyptian guy, you know. Maybe it's transportation, you know. So that is another thing. وكذلك إذا تنازع قميصا أحدهما لابسه والآخر متعلق بكمه فاللابس أولى. So he says two people, so for example, he will come, so and then he just grabs on the sleeves, yeah, here, but I'm wearing it. I say it belongs to me. He says no, it's mine, you know. So who has more right? Understand? So he says the one who is wearing it, you know. But I mean, with me, him, you cannot mistake it because it's quite wide for him, you know. If it would be me, I would say, okay, wear it, show me, you know. You have, you know, big belly, okay, and he says, so just be clever. So all of that is just key from Imam Quduri. Keep in your mind, we Hanafis are not literalists, you know, we're not textualists. These are just exercise from Imam Quduri. And it's not that only golden print, it's not that. Just exercise. He's training our brain. Okay, Sayyidi. Okay. وإذا اختلف المتبايعان في البيع فادعى المشتري ثمنا وادعى البائع أكثر منه، أو اعترف البائع بقدر من المبيع وادعى المشتري أكثر منه، وأقام أحدهما البينة قضى له بها أو قضي له بها، وإن أقام كل واحد منهما بينة كانت البينة المثبتة للزيادة أولى. So okay, so this is mas'ala. Two people, I am buying and you are selling, and we are actually disputing about the price. So seller is saying something and buyer is saying something else. Okay, so then in that mas'ala, anyone who provides the proof, two witnesses for example, we go with him. But what about if both provides proof? Okay, so he says the one who proves higher price, then we go with him. Okay, well obviously this is actually based on two mas'alas. The first one is the person who is claiming higher. Okay, so he has more knowledge. Okay, so that's one thing. And the second is this is quite common. It's quite common for the buyer to claim lesser. Okay, well from our side we can say it's also common for the seller to claim higher. But anyway, this is one of these issues. So he says فإن لم تكن لكل واحد منهما بينة قيل للمشتري إما أن ترضى بالثمن الذي ادعاه البائع وإلا فسخنا البيع وقيل للبائع إما أن تسلم ما ادعاه المشتري من المبيع وإلا فسخنا البيع. So he says, but if there is no any proof between them, so then we just advise them. So it's not judgment but just advice. Okay, saying to the buyer, either you accept the price that seller is offering or just leave it. And we say to the seller, either you accept the payment from the buyer or we just nullify it. Okay, so it's just as advice. فإن لم يتراضيا استحلف الحاكم كل واحد منهما على دعوى الآخر ويبتدئ بيمين المشتري فإذا حلف فسخ القاضي البيع بينهما. Okay, but if they do not agree, if they do not accept the claim of the other person, in that case the judge will ask each of them to take oath. Okay, because from one side each of them claiming and from the other side they're denying each of them. So they are each of them a claimant and defenders. So the first is the buyer will take oath, and then the seller, and as soon as they take oath, so the judge will nullify the contract. Okay, Sani. دنيا The next one is shahadat. Adab al-Qadi. No, I think everything Siyar, Bugat, Wasaya, Kitab al-Fara'id. How many weeks do I have till the end? It's till July, isn't it? Till June or July or so?
I don't think there's fixed.
How far did we go with Usul? We completed all of the Huruf al-Ma'ani, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we were there. I don't think we covered them all.
Yeah, somewhere there, isn't there? So it means more than half, because Quran is more than half actually. Ahruf al-Ma'ani is at the end of Quran actually. So let's say this is going to take 1 month or 6 weeks, let's say maximum 6 weeks. And so this year we'll have to finish off usul also. What are you going to do after that? It's continuing, isn't it? You should not stop, okay? Fiqh and usul should not stop. But if you want to have a break, then don't study usul now. Okay, so you cannot break between. So as soon as you study usul, you have to continue. It never should stop because you forget. Okay, Sayyidi. Then فإن كلا أحدهما عن اليمين لزمه دعوى الآخر. But if one of them will refuse to take oath, so then the claim of the second person will be proven because he is refusing to take oath. وإن اختلفا في الأجل أو في شرط الخيار أو في استيفاء بعد الثمن فلا تحالف بينهما والقول قول من ينكر الخيار والأجل معي. This is quite obvious thing. So let's suppose that, do you remember شرط الخيار? Who remembers شرط الخيار? What is شرط الخيار? Yes, so I will say I'm buying this, but I will think for 3 days. So khiyar is with the buyer. So okay, let's say that I bought it. Okay, I bought it, and then I said and then you said to me that there was not any option, there was not any khiyar. It was like a confirmed transaction. No, I said no. I said that I'm going to make khiyar. Then we went to the judge. Okay, so he says the person who is denying the khiyar, so we take his opinion. Okay, obviously he will, because he's defender, so he will take oath. And the same thing is about, you are confirming that there is khiyar, there was khiyar, but we are disputing about the time. So I say there was khiyar of 3 days. You are saying no, there was only 1 day. So we go with what you are saying, but you have to take oath. وإن هلك المبيع عجيب. وإن هلك المبيع ثم اختلفا في الثمن لم يتحالفا عند أبي. But what about in this scenario, in the scenario of khiyar, etc., if the sold commodity is damaged? So he says, that's it, everything is void. So there is no any oath, it's just done. وقال أبو يوسف رحمهما الله تعالى والقول قول المشتري في الثمن وقال محمد رحمه الله تعالى يتحالفان ويفسخ البيع على إقامة الهالك. Okay, but according to in the same مسألة, when the commodity is damaged, Abu Yusuf says, so we go with the claim of the buyer in terms of its price. Imam Muhammad says no, they take oath, and if both take oath, then in terms of the in terms of the price, both of the claims will be nullified, will be rejected in terms of the price. I'm sorry. So as long, because they're agreeing on the price, but they're disagreeing in terms of the khiyar and in terms of the ajal, in terms of the length of the khiyar. So he says the money will be paid off, but in terms of the khiyar, existence of the khiyar or its length, they have to take oath. Okay, so the opinion of Imam Muhammad is not really practical, but I do believe that his opinion is mu'tamad, because in most of the cases in the qada, they take the opinion of Imam Muhammad. But in this specific mas'ala, I do not recall whose opinion is mu'tamad. Just double check about it. Okay, do you guys read in terms of authenticating the opinions? Are you reading the book of Ibn Khtlubgha, التصحيح والترجيح? So make sure that you buy that. It's is just very like footnotes. Whenever there is disagreement, so Ibn Khutubah clarifies which one is official position. So his book is called At-Tashih wa Tarjih. So it's not even commentary, but there is disagreement. So Ibn Khutubah says Mu'tamad is Qawl, for example, Abu Hanif, for example. Yeah. As far as I think, the Mu'tamad is Qawl Imam. So means they have to take oath in terms of the existence of the khiyar or its length, but in terms of the price, so because they agreed. So buyer has to make the payment regardless. But in terms of the existence of the khiyar, etc., so they will take oath. Means practically payment will be done. Sorry? Yeah. So exactly, it's not practical, isn't it? So it's only for the day of judgment then. But practical in this world. So then what are they going to do? As long as payment is done, finish. So anyway, وإن هلك أحد العبدين ثم اختلفا في الثمن لم يتحالفا عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى إلا أن يرضى البائع أن يترك حصة الهالك. وقال أبو يوسف رحمه الله تعالى يتحالفان وينفسخ البيع في الحي وقيمة الهالك وهو قول محمد رحمه الله تعالى. Do you remember causing harm to the seller? So for example, let's suppose that I have apples. Okay, some of them are good and some of them are a bit bitter, for example, sour. So do you have, according to this, do you have a right to only pick the sweet ones and leave the sour ones? If you remember, Quduri mentioned. If I offer it as one contract, saying, okay, here is 10 kgs, okay, for 10 pounds. So can you pick the sweet apples, only 5 kgs, and pay me 5 pounds? Can you do so? No, because you are making tafriq of something which I'm offering at once. Okay, so because it's most likely I'm selling all of them together. So because sour, sweet compensates the sour, do you know? So in one contract. So if just keep that in your mind. Now let's compare it. Let's suppose that I'm selling 2 slaves, okay, and after the transaction, buying and selling, then one of them died and we are still disputing on its price. So what is going to happen? Abu Hanifa says there is no taking oath, either you prove or either the transaction is void. Okay, so then he says, Abu Hanifa, he says unless seller agrees to carry on with the transaction but by dropping the value of the dead slave. So means separating the contract, isn't it? Because both were sold as one. Okay, and according to Sahibain, they will take oath, but the entire transaction will be void. And it is the opinion of Imam Muhammad. So double check what is the Mu'tamad. I think the Mu'tamad will be most likely the opinion of Abu Hanifa, is more consistent. وإذا اختلف الزوجان في المهر فادعى الزوج أنه تزوجها ب1000 وقالت تزوجتني ب2000 فأيهما أقام البينة قبلت بينته وإن أقاما معا البينة فالبينة بينة المرأة. قدر is feminist. وإن لم تكن لهما بينة تحالفا عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله ولم يفسخ النكاح ولكن يحكم بمهر المثل. Okay, now we have this scenario in which husband and wife, they're disputing on the mahar. So husband is claiming, saying 1,000. It was just 1,000, not pounds, rupees, Pakistani rupees. Okay, so I think it's £2, isn't it? 1,000 rupees. Yeah? Not just to put them down, you know, because Quduri is now going to pump them a lot, you know. Okay, and then, but lady says no, it was 2,000. Okay, so we accept the statement of anyone who proves, who presents the proof. But what about if both of them bring the proof? So whose claim will be accepted?
Or did you go with the culture? Like, so if you're here, it'll be pounds, but if you're in Pakistan, it'll be rupee.
No. We're not talking about that. One of them claiming lady is saying 1,000, regardless pound or rupee. Husband is saying 1,000. Lady is saying 2,000 pounds. Each of them, both of them, bring proof. 2 witnesses. So lady brings her father and her uncle. You know that it was 10,000 pounds. Okay, and the guy brings his cousin and cousin's friend also, and they say it was 20 pounds actually. You know, they bear testimony. You know, so whose statement will be accepted? Women's, yeah. Quduri is feminist. He says we take the statement of the lady. Yeah, so I think when he was writing, so his wife was just behind him with the candle, you know. What he's going to, so first he has written the correct thing, but when he saw that the wife is standing there, he just rubbed that away and then said, it is the reading skill, you know, so you know in which position author was while he was writing, you know. It is reading skill, you know. Like I said, وإن لم تكن لهما بينة تحالفا عند أبيها. But if they do not have any proof, so then they will take oath. Okay, so if one of them refuses to take oath, so it means that the statement of other is proven. But if both take oath, in that case, obviously the marriage is still valid, but we go with the standard mahar, mahrul mithl. Yeah, alhamdulillah, we are almost there. فإن كان مثل ما اعترف به الزوج أو أقل قضي بما قال الزوج، وإن كان مثل ما ادعته المرأة وأكثر قضي بما ادعته المرأة، وإن كان مهر المثل أكثر مما اعترف به الزوج وأقل مما ادعته المرأة قضي لها بمهر المثل. Okay. So now what do? So he says, if the mahr al-mithl is close to what husband said, okay, or a bit lesser, then we go with what husband said. Okay, or if it is close to what lady said or more, then we go with what lady said. Okay, but what about if it is in between? Okay, so it's more than what husband said, so it's not 1,000, and it's not 2,000. Mahr al-mithl is not 2,000, but in between. So then it's 1,500. So it's mahr al-mithl, standard mahr. وإذا اختلف في الإجارة قبل استيفاء المعقود عليه تحالف وترادا. وإن اختلف بعد الاستيفاء لم يتحالف وكان القول قول المستأجر. Okay, so let's suppose that now we are in the masala of ijar. So what is ijar? Who remembers? Yes, renting, letting, borrowing, labor. So let's suppose that I'm renting your house, and then we disputed, okay, and no proof. Okay, in here we judge asks both of them to take oath, and the rent will be nullified because it not yet started. But what about if dispute will happen about the price after completing, for example, the rent, okay, in that case, both of them take oath, but we support the opinion of the statement of the person who is using it, and not the lender.
So, you know, in the previous masala where the two spouses disagree and the husband claims that he married for 1,000,
Yeah.
it then says, Abu Hanifa says that they both have to take oath. But as he's claiming, you say, we previously said that as a principle, the claimant doesn't take oath,
Yeah.
but he has to take oath.
That's a good question. You know, whenever there are both of them are bringing proof or both of them are taking oath, so means each person has two sides. In one side he's claiming, and in the other he is refusing, denying. So, for example, one is saying 1,000, okay, but denying the extra, claiming 1,000 but denying the extra. You understand? So whenever there is both of them are taking oath or bringing proof, so means one person has two sides, claiming something and refusing something. Okay, but it's a good question. You cannot put it under one thing all the time, because look, whenever there will be some dispute, each claimant will be refusing something, isn't it? Okay, but anyway, just stay cautious about it. Okay. وإن اختلف بعد استيفاء بعض المعقود عليه تحالف وفسخ العقد فيما بقي وكان القول في الماضي قول المستلم مع يمين. Obviously, okay, what about if it is only halfway through? For example, I'm renting your house for let's say 1 month, and after 15 days we have disputed about the price. Okay, so for whatever I have used, I have to pay. Okay, but I have to take oath. But for the rest, the transaction will be nullified.
In the previous one, he said he didn't say he has to take oath, but in this one, he has to take oath.
وإن اختلف بعد الاستيفاء وإن اختلف do you know the service according to the logic does not exist, isn't it? So you cannot sell it, but because of the urf we made it into the existing commodity. Do you understand? Okay, so it is to do with that, but I cannot see it clearly, because when it does not exist, so they're taking oath. But when it exists, they are not taking oath. But when half exists and the other half does not exist, so they are taking oath, considering the non-existing thing. You understand? But anyway, you just go and double check by yourself. Okay, I couldn't make a sense of that. وإذا اختلف المولى والمكاتب في مال الكتابة لم يتحالفا عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى، وقال رحمهما الله تعالى يتحالفان وتنفسخ الكتابة. Okay. In the general principle, there is no oath between the master and the slave. Okay, that is general principle. Obviously, there are some certain exemptions. Okay, but what about the mukatab? Okay, so is the mukatab, is he slave or not? So based on what Abu Hanifa says, according to Abu Hanifa, no. Because let's suppose that I'm making mukataba, okay, with my slave, okay, and then after a while we disagree. So I say I made the mukataba for 5,000, but slave says no, 1,000. So Abu Hanifa says no, there will not be any oath, okay, but whose opinion will be taken? Masters. Okay, so masters or nullified. Okay, but according to Sahabain, no, they will take oath. Okay, because right now mukatab is not a slave. Okay, but tanfasikhul kitaba, and the kitaba mukataba will be nullified. وإذا اختلف الزوجان في متاع البيت فما يصلح للرجال فهو للرجل وما يصلح للنساء فهو للمرأة وما يصلح لهما فهو للرجل. Yeah. You know, so let's suppose that dispute happened between the husband and wife. So about the things, you know, which belongs to whom. So whatever normally used by man belongs to the man, you know. Yeah, so for me it includes even the dresses and all of the makeups. Why? Because he gives it as a gift, you know, to someone, you know. And whatever is used by female, so it is kitchen stuff, you know, like onions, and because they use that only, you know. So that belongs to the women, okay. And whatever is used between them belongs to the man. Yeah. So you see, in here, so Quduri's wife went back, you know, sleeping, you know. You see, reading skill, you know. Okay, Salim. Look, all of that is just based on the culture, you know. وإن مات أحدهما واختلف ورثته مع الآخر فما يصلح للرجل والنساء فهو للباقي منهما. Hey Allah. Okay, so let's suppose that in the household, obviously there will be clothes and everything, you know, between them, isn't it? So after the death, there will be inheritance, okay, divided. But whatever is left in the house, so husband and wife, for example, wife dies. So will they come to split up even the clothes and everything as like inheritance? So he says whatever is in the household belongs to the person who is still remaining. If husband dies, means the rest of the, you know, the furniture and all of them, kitchen stuffs, etc. So it will belong to the other partner, the one who is still alive. وقال أبو يوسف رحمه الله يدفع إلى المرأة ما يجهز به مثلها والباقي للزوج. Yes, so according to Abu Yusuf, just to from the leftover things which belongs to the women, so that we take the expenses for the janaza, washing and etc., kafan, and the rest belongs to the other side. وإن باع الرجل جارية فجاءت بولد فادعاه البائع فإن جاءت به لأقل من 6 أشهر من يوم باعها فهو ابن البائع وأمه أم ولد له فيفسخ البيع ويرد الثمن وإن ادعاه المشتري مع دعوى البائع أو بعده فدعوى البائع أو لا. It's quite logic thing. So let's suppose that I sold my she slave to you. Okay, and after 3 months, for example, she gave birth, and then I came claiming that it is from me. What's going to happen? What do you think? It's quite logic, isn't it? So first of all, I'm claiming, and less than pregnancy period, full pregnancy period, after selling, she gave birth. So it cannot be from the buyer, isn't it? 3 months, for example. Because what's the minimum pregnancy period in the fiqh? 6 months. So for less than, for example, 4 months. After selling my she-slave, she gave birth after 4 months. And then I came claiming that it is from me. Okay, so then what's going to happen? Obviously, if it is mine, so what is going to happen automatically? First of all, Walad. What happens to Walad? I cannot sell. So what do I have to do? I have to refund because it was not valid transaction. That's a just good logic thing, isn't it? But in the same time, when I claim that it is from me, buyer also claims that it is from him, or even after that he claims, after my claim, he claims that it is from him. What is going to happen? Who has more right to claim? We go with the Zahir. And what is the Zahir? Why? Less than, because Zahir is that less than 6 months. Means pregnancy happened before that. In my position, actually. But what about وإن جاءت به لأكثر من 6 أشهر ولأقل من سنتين لم تقبل دعوى البائع فيه إلا أن يصدقه المشتري. But if she will give birth after 6 months after buying and less than 2 years, so what's going to happen? What do you think? Do we accept the claim of the seller? No, now we're not going, because 6 months is enough time to become pregnant from the second buyer. So it means now the buyer, because he already paid the money, it belongs to him. So Zahir is with him. So it means we're going to accept the claim of the first seller, the seller, if only buyer confirms that.
Would you look at the baby born, for example, if it's been 7 months?
So according to Hanbali school, they do the ilm al-qiyafa, because Umar radiallahu anhu used to do. Okay, but Abu Hanifa rejected the ilm al-qiyafa. He said no. Zahir is that over 6 months. Okay, so now the buying and selling transaction is the Zahir. So anyway, I think ilm al-qiyafa is only in the Hanbali school actually, as far as I know. I don't know if Imam Malik used to do it. So if 2 people claim, okay, 1 baby, so it's going to come here, shall we discuss? وإن مات الولد فادعاه البائع وقد جاءت به لأقل من 6 أشهر لم يثبت النسب في الولد ولا الاستيلاد في الأم. Okay, if in the scenario of giving birth, okay, after 6 months, before 6 months, if she gives birth, but then baby dies, and then the first seller, he comes to claim it is from him. So لم يثبت النسب في الولد ولا الاستيلاد في الأم. So it's not going to be walad, and it's not going to be the baby nasab is not going to be from him. Why? What do you think? It's quite obvious. The answer is quite obvious. Baby died, but he says no, she's not going to be walad. Why? Less than 6 months. So it should be from the seller, isn't it? But he says no.
If the baby died, I don't think you can prove it, and can you? Because it could have happened afterwards with the new buyer.
Excellent, because miscarriage can happen before 6 months. Yeah, excellent.
For the walad, does she have to give birth, or can it be from miscarriage as well?
Sorry?
For a slave to be classed as walad,
Yeah.
does she have to give birth, or she has a miscarriage? That doesn't count.
in the position of the master.
Yeah,
Miscarriage will do.
will do.
Yeah. So pregnancy is sufficient.
So then she'll be, so in this scenario, she'll still be Walad but for the new master.
Yeah. So if it's not proven from the first one, so it's going to be from the second, unless he will prove that it's not from him. Yeah. وإن ماتت الأم فادعاه البائع وقد جاءت به لأقل من 6 أشهر يثبت النسب منه في الولد وأخذه البائع ويرد الثمن كله في قول أبي حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى وقال رحمهما الله تعالى يرد حصة الولد ولا يرد حصة. So it's quite obvious. What about if it's not the baby who dies but the mother who dies after giving birth before 6 months? What's going to happen? It's quite obvious, isn't it? What do you think?
Will you have to refund? Because it's his.
So it is actually his. Okay, it is his son. Can you sell your own son? No, means transaction was not valid. Okay, but then how much do you refund? So in that there is Abu Hanifa says everything. Okay, Sahabain say no, only the share of the child. I think opinion of Abu Hanifa is more reasonable, isn't it? Because the entire transaction was not valid. Yeah. ومن ادعى نسب أحد التوأمين يثبت نسبهما منه. So let's suppose that twins, someone claims that one of the twins is from him. What's going to happen? If he proves that, so even second will belong to him also. Okay, Sayyidi. Inshallah, we are going to stop here. Today we wanted to do till 4 o'clock, but we did till 3:05. I think that much should be enough, inshallah. I'm really happy, to be honest. Today we did quite a lot. So only these 2 places. Next week, inshallah, we'll come back to it very quickly. Yeah, so then next week definitely we're going to finish off the shahadat and adab al-qadi also, inshallah. Yeah, qisma ikra the week after 2 weeks. So then this year is a bit lengthy, it's going to take a bit of time. So 3 weeks, hadar wal ibaha, and then wasaya, then for us 4 weeks. So inshallah 5 weeks will be done from Mukhtasar al-Qudur, inshallah.